I've never been so glad for these cameras in my life.
Stop! Bad idea. Put your hands up now. God, dick! Shot fired. Shot fired.
All of this is being recorded. Get on the ground!
So I secure my glasses, my body camera's on it.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of PD Cam. I'm Sergeant Sean Sticks Larkin of the Tulsa PD Gang Unit. Okay, our first stop tonight involves both a helicopter camera and the body cam of a Baltimore officer who thinks he's identified a vehicle involved in a recent shooting spree.
Hey, what's up, man? You've been through this once or twice, huh? Can you just open this up a little bit more? All right, do these open up?
Yeah, but I'm gonna pull over.
Well, for one thing, you have blackout window tint.
Yeah, that's the sign showing that I got pulled over for.
Right.
I got medical condition for I got pulled over.
What's your medical condition, my man?
I got like a little blind inside my eye. My eye can't take it. Something like.
All right. This is Officer Libby out of the Western. So I have a silver Lexus, what might be that silver Lexus they've been looking for. I don't know yet. It was for a shooting. He's valid, but the car reeks of weed, so I got my 1011 up here. I'm checking with homicide and citywide. I'm gonna pull him out, run through the car, do my whole bit.
Pull him out and do your thing.
10-4.
This is great police work by this officer here. He's a patrol officer, and he's been paying attention to local bulletins of wanted subjects. He spotted this vehicle that might be connected to a shooting.
Hey, sir. So listen, just gonna give you a heads up. Do me a favor right now. What I want you to do is I want you to turn the vehicle off and step out for me, okay? Hey. Northbound on Reisterstown. We're about to hit Glens Falls. Do you see Fox is up?
Now, the officer asked if Fox was up, and what he's referring to is the Baltimore Police Department's helicopter unit.
10-4. Silver Lexus. Dark in windows. Black rim. Tinted taillights.
Now, what's common in a lot of police departments is once the helicopter gets overhead, they will actually call out the pursuit. That allows the officers on the ground to follow the car and just focused on driving.
Be advised, the individual has a rifle in the vehicle. Shots fired from that car. Be careful. Shots fired.
You guys need to pull back, and we'll just continue calling it. All right, still southbound on Reisterstown Road. And our Boxer 09 is significantly slowed down. It's just a matter of the vehicle completely failing now. It's been smoking. It's coming to a complete stop at Glens Falls and Reisterstown. The vehicle is stopped. Let's get some more units over there. Stop the vehicle is rolling. They have the suspect in custody. 1800 block of Glens Falls Parkway.
Weapon secured. Suspect secured. 32.
Now, the driver was charged with first and second degree murder, attempted first and second degree murder, various assault and weapons charges, and reckless endangerment. Luckily, no officers or civilians were injured during the chase or the arrest.
Get on the ground right now.
Next, it's off to Marshville, Wisconsin, where officers are chasing a stolen car. Now, they've been told by dispatch that the driver may have a weapon on him.
Hands on the ground. I got him at gunpoint.
What did I do?
Get on the ground. Get on the ground right now.
What did I do?
Dude, let's get this figured out, then we'll talk.
What did I do?
The officer at this point recognizes, hey, I've got a problem here, so he's keeping a safe distance from the suspect while he's waiting for other officers.
Why?
What's your name?
Why?
Because, man, we got to talk about the car. Okay?
What's it? Jen
Don't
called
come
it
closer to me.
in? Jen called
Get
it in?
on the ground. Yes,
Oh my God!
I know.
The
Dude, we'll
Jane
figure
he's
it out.
referring to is the owner of the car. It turns out she didn't give him permission to take it.
Right? We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. Hey, hey! Get on the ground! Get on the ground right now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground right now! Get on the ground!
Hands up! Put your hands up! Get on the ground!
Get on the ground right now!
This guy has repeatedly been told to get on the ground, but since he won't comply, they've deployed the taser for everybody's safety.
Oh, dude, I'm supposed to see my daughter, man. I don't have anything, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Hey, man, we'll talk, all right?
Dude,
We'll get this figured out.
please, you guys.
431 with Connie 1042.
Come on, man. Why are you doing this to me? I didn't do wrong.
Can you be cool with us?
No.
All right.
To the PD.
Okay.
46.
What's it gonna take for you to not hit your head? A phone call to your daughter later? Huh?
Dad, did I break a promise to her? I never lied to my kids.
The Marshville Police Department was praised for the negotiation process and the use of a restraint while taking down the suspect with a taser. The suspect was charged with auto theft and resisting arrest. Now let's go to Pasco County, Florida, where Deputy Nick Carmack and his canine partner, Shep, are in pursuit of a stolen SUV.
They just racked into a full semi.
One of the suspects took off, and Deputy Carmack is sending his dog ahead to stop him.
I'm just trying to get out of the car. I'm still on fire. Get up. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, the reason Deputy Carmack is dragging the first suspect along with him is that he's still working without backup and doesn't want the guy to take off on him.
Sheriff! K-13, I need air. Where are they? Sheriff! Here! Hey! Get him, Sheriff!
His canine partner, Shep, is further ahead, chasing down the second suspect in a car theft investigation.
Ow! I'm up in a driveway. I'm chasing. I'm carrying one suspect. Let's go now on the ground. On the ground now.
Now, if you look there in the distance, that's actually Shep holding one of the suspect's hands in his mouth.
On your face now. I'm gonna tase the out of you. Shep, down. 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 Leave him down. Leave him down. Down. Stay. On your face. On your face.
Get up.
I'm not trying to fight back or nothing, bro.
Good boy, Bubba's. Good boy. That's my man, Bob.
That was Canine Shep from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office bringing home a successful arrest for his partner, Deputy Nick Carmack. The suspects were charged with stealing a vehicle and fleeing a law enforcement officer. Our next story takes us to Isle of Wight in Virginia, where officers have pulled over a car for speeding.
What's going on?
Nothing, man. What?
I've got.
What? Be quiet. Hello?
You got your driver's license
No, I
registration?
ain't got nothing. What am I being pulled over for?
I got mine.
Okay, you were doing 68.
No, I was not. No, I was doing 60.
Okay, I'm gonna need your driver's license.
You got to call somebody because I wasn't speeding.
Ma'am, don't make this harder than what it has to be.
I wasn't speeding, bro.
I'm gonna need your driver's license.
If you look there, there's a driver and a backseat passenger, but no front seat passenger. That initially, to me, is something very suspicious, especially if it's another adult in the backseat.
We just switched seats. Can I see the radar?
No,
Because
ma'am.
I feel like you're a liar.
No, ma'am. Let me tell you what's gonna happen if you don't give me any ID. What's gonna happen is you're gonna go to jail for obstruction of justice, all
Okay,
right?
that's fine. I go to jail. I get a lawyer. It's cool.
Okay.
I go to jail. You take me to jail.
All right, come back here.
No, I'm not coming to
Stay in the
Stop!
car.
Stop!
Come back here.
Hold on.
We got her.
I'm going to jail.
I got it. I got back
I'm
here.
I'm coming. Stop, bro. Stop.
Look, cause she didn't do nothing. But listen, I don't be a person. Natasha,
39. I got one detained.
I'm a basketball player. Stop! I'm gonna lose my scholarship. I will lose my basketball scholarship. Stop! Bro, I play Division I basketball. You're not about to do this to me because I ain't doing wrong, man.
Listen.
Bro, it doesn't matter if you're gonna take me to jail. Take me to jail.
I never said
I got a lawyer, bro. I got a lawyer, bro.
Now, underneath that bag there, that's a handgun on the floor. that was right at the feet of the rear passenger.
Y'all going through my car without my consent. Without my
Sarge.
So, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna record everything.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Right where she was sitting. All right.
I don't know, boy. Let me talk.
Miss.
Let me talk.
Hang
I'll
on.
talk. I'll tell you everything. This is my gun. I promise you. I stole it back. I just came back from my brother's funeral. Somebody stole it.
Miss.
This is my gun. I promise. Hey, gun.
Let me explain to you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law.
Let me call my lawyer. Let me call my lawyer.
Yeah, well, it's your fault. I told you not to drive on 5 limits.
Come on, let's go. We're gonna go over here.
It's your fault, dumb. Let me stop.
To the right. Keep going all the way then to the right.
The driver was charged with concealing a weapon, driving without a license, and speeding. Her friend, on the other hand, was only charged with disorderly conduct. This is PD Cam. Next up, let's go to Pinehurst, North Carolina, where officers have pulled over a driver for a traffic stop. Now remember, none of what you're about to see was shot by a professional camera. In addition to the body camera, this incident was also caught on the patrol car's dash cam. The officer actually touched the back of the car, and what that does is it leaves his fingerprints on the rear of the car.
How's it going, man? Because you have a possible suspended license. You have your driver's license on you? No, I do not. You don't have your driver's license on you? No. Okay. What's your name?
Who does it say is
Sir, I'm not here to argue with you.
Then
Got your driver's license?
No, I don't. I'm not required by law to show you my identification. All right, bet.
Easy way or the hard way?
That's a threat, though, and I got your
Easy
camera.
way or the hard way? Hey, come on.
Now you can see him running the red light there on the right side of the screen, so the officers are now in a pursuit.
That subject advised it's on 911. He does not believe your real officer is attempting to stop him. That's why he has not stopped yet.
They might want to advise him to pull over. Walk the car in and get him out of it.
But if you notice there, he's using his blinker as he's driving. At least he's being courteous.
He pulled me for no reason.
1, 2, 3, oh! Go ahead and sit down.
Sit down and quit
Can I
talking.
get my phone? Sit down.
Sit down.
Keep going.
The driver was hit with multiple charges, including driving with a revoked license, speeding, and eluding arrest with a motor vehicle. Our next story takes place in Glendale, Ohio, where Officer Josh Hilling has stopped a man for walking along the shoulder of I-75. Now, just to give you a heads up, this gets pretty intense.
There's any other way to go to Cincinnati, right?
You can't walk on the highway.
I'm sorry about that.
So you got any ID on you?
No, man.
You don't have any ID? Where you coming from?
Dayton.
You're coming from Dayton?
Yeah. Okay. Somebody was supposed to bring me out there, but she didn't bring me.
Okay, what's your name?
Carlos. The Spanish for Charles.
You have a social security number? You have anything on you that tells you who you are? What you got in your backpack?
Dirty clothes.
All right, let's just set it down here. 7 King 11. I'll be southbound 75 at the 14 over 9. I'll be out with one subject that was walking. Keep your hands out of your pockets for me.
Sorry, sir.
Here, let's walk up to my cruiser real quick. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you place your hands on the back of my cruiser. I'm gonna pat you down for officer safety. I'm gonna pat you down for officer. Give me up!
Officer Hilling has just shot the suspect because he was threatening him with a very large knife.
I'm gonna kill you! Sir, get down! Sir, get down!
The suspect isn't getting down on the ground because the officer is telling him to. That's his body reacting to being shot in the torso.
Stay down! Stay down! Stay down! Stay down! Stay down! Stay down! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me, man! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! Get down! Get down! Kill myself! Get down! He's hurt! He's hit once!
He's not listening to his commands, and in fact, he's telling the officer basically he wants to die.
Do it!
7 King 11, one shot, subject shot only. Subject shot only in the abdomen. Still has a knife, not following any orders. Watch your gun, watch your gun.
Look at the size of the knife in his hand.
Drop the knife! Please drop the knife! Please drop the knife! Sir, please drop the knife! Don't do it! Drop the knife! Drop it!
Don't touch it or I'll hit you again, you understand me?
We got a northbound shutdown. 1790. 1790. 1790, go ahead.
You alright? Yeah.
Subject is in custody. Joint Star Squad this way.
Thanks, guys.
The suspect survived the shooting, and investigators later learned that he was wanted in connection to a stabbing death in Maryland. This quickly became a national story, and Officer Hilling is here to talk to us about it. Thanks for joining us, Josh.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good, man. Now, how long have you been an officer?
Now, when that happened, I had been a part-time police officer, but I had just been bumped up to full-time. So I was 3 months into my full-time career.
Wow.
Still on my first year of probation, so I was a complete wreck afterward. That scenario and that video that you just saw, that was the feeling of I could die here right now, right today. You just bounce back to your training and hope it kicks in.
Well, obviously your training was good. I mean, that's almost a textbook, way to handle that thing, from everything from the pat down to your reaction and then getting that critical distance between you and him with the knife.
Yeah, this happened so fast and so quick.
Yeah, you can see the knife right there, and there's your shot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, even in that situation, the taser isn't the right application for how that thing happened that way.
And on top of that, I was like, he has a code on. The chances of the taser working, and then it doesn't, then I'm screwed. Taser can't work in this situation. This is a life or death. And then towards the end here, I thought, I was getting a little close to us running out of room, because at this point, now there's cars right behind us. Luckily, another officer made the quick decision.
And that's the taser there. Yeah. Well, and that's the difference. I mean, now he's got his coat off. Like you said, you didn't actually carry a taser at that point. Officer had a taser. They had a little more distance. Can hear you breathing. Man, that's your silhouette you bent over there, huh?
Catching my breath.
His repeated statements, kill me, kill me, kill me. I mean, do you think he was dead set that day on having you do that, essentially a suicide by cop?
I'm thinking his initial reason for attacking me was, hey, if I get a hold of this officer, I can put him down and get out of here. And that's knowing what I know now. I obviously didn't know that he was wanted out of Maryland and he was on the run.
Right.
I do not know the particulars of the case up there, so it's still an open case and he still has to go on trial.
All right, well, Josh, man, fantastic job that day. Appreciate it. Glad you're still here with us today.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
All right, that's it for this episode of PD Cam. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.